Yo, what's going on, guys? Mid to high key back in the building. I'm Don or Donnell, whatever you want to call me.
And I'm Dontavios or Jalen. You can call me Jalen.
And today we have Chandler back with us. Chandler, how's it going?
It's going good.
Oh?
How's it going?
It's going good over here too. Today we're gonna be talking a little bit. All-Star Week's coming up. All-Star Weekend rather. In LA, a lot of big things going on. The Celebrity All-Star Game, the Token Skills Challenge, all that stuff that people really don't care about. In the All-Star Game itself, which people want to care about the All-Star Game, but you can't.
You care about the whole weekend.
Yeah, so it's more of a break for the players, which is well deserved after such a long, grueling first half of the season. I know Chandler can amend to this with the Celtics having crazy back-to-back games, particularly on the road, and their record's definitely shown because of it. Oh, by the way, what we're going to be talking about before I just jump into conversation is about the regular season thus far, what's been going on, and kind of our takes on it. So
The storylines, the drama.
yeah, but
One person told me that I try too hard to be funny in our videos, so from now on, 100% serious.
So first takes on the season so far. Chandler, what's the first thing that kind of jumps out to you this first part of the season? There's a lot been going on, but what stands out to you?
Well, the first thing that stands out to me is that it still kind of revolved around LeBron and the Warriors. Pretty much everything. Obviously, because those are the two teams that played in the last, 3 finals and probably this one too. But it's just the Warriors is recently they started coaching themselves in games. And it's the Rockets, it's can they beat the Warriors? And with in the East, it's can the Celtics beat the Cavs, or can the Raptors beat the Celtics and the Cavs? So it's just and if they win, can they beat the Warriors? So it's just really all around. It's for as much as gone on in the league, it's just it always comes back to the Warriors and the Cavs.
Yeah. And even the Houston, I don't know if it was Dan Antonio that said it himself or if it was the owner. I think it was the owner. But they were saying we're trying to gear up to beat the Warriors. And in a professional, season, a professional league where everyone's supposed to be high tier, ready to go at you. You can lose to anybody on any given day. It's no longer the case. People don't care about all the regular season games, naturally. They try to get ready for the postseason, but
it's
unless they feature the Warriors or the Cavs.
Right. It's that's pretty much every prime time game. It's either got the Warriors or the Cavs, or and it's just. I will say this year, I think I said it in the past on the channel, that I have watched a lot more NBA games than I have in the past, just because I think this year, more so than the previous 3 years, the league is a little more competitive. In terms of, I don't think, obviously the Cavs aren't that much ahead of everyone else in the East, since they're third?
Yeah.
Third. And obviously the Warriors are still running away with it, but even Houston is first, or has the best record in the West. So, it's definitely more competitive this year, I would say, because the last 3 years, you've had the Warriors have just been dominating, and then the Cavs, while they haven't had the best of regular seasons, they didn't win, or they didn't finish first in the East last year. There was never a time when you were are the Cavs going to make it back to the finals? This year, there's, you still probably expect the Cavs to make it to the finals, but are you really
banking on them to win?
Yeah, so there's still the Celtics, I could definitely see beating the Cavs, which hasn't been the case. Last year, even though the Celtics finished first, I never saw them beating the Cavs.
Yeah. Because it was glaring last year.
Yeah.
They had a crazy team, but with Boston this year, the paradigm has definitely shifted.
Yeah.
LeBron has to he has to transition himself and his play and his teammates to this new squad and everything. Now it's really LeBron and a bunch of role players.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
before it was, LeBron, Tristan Thompson, not Tristan Thompson, fuck him. LeBron, Kevin Love, and Kyrie.
Yeah.
You technically had a big three. But Chandler, I want to ask you this though. Obviously with all this talk with the NBA and everything, it's almost like no other team is relevant. It's almost like how can you be part of prime time? Who would want to tune in to watch your channel? So the question is then, like, what do these teams like the Suns, like the Brooklyn Nets, even the Miami Heat, who try to scrape by and be relevant, what can these teams kind of do to be relevant, to be competitive, And I want to say get like an all-star player, but what do you say?
Well, first, I think they should. It's going to have to come through the draft if you're going to get any kind of franchise player or any superstar like LeBron I can't even say like LeBron or KD because they left multiple teams, but they're still franchise players.
Yeah.
But it's going to have to come through the draft, and that's going to have to come through the lottery, which means you would have to tank like the 76ers do. But you see, that's not all the way there yet either.
Yeah, and injuries.
Yeah, and so it's just like you can either be the team that has, well, of course, free agency is going to change that, like say like 2 years when teams literally can't pay everyone.
Yeah.
But even with the cap rising, it's not possible. But so it's going to have to be, I feel like it's going to go, remember like in the early 2000s where it seemed like every team had one star?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Except for like the Lakers.
Right.
Yeah, because I feel like it's going to eventually go back to that, which I don't know if that's better for every team, but it would be more even, as far as like, I don't know who's going to win. Oh, the Kings might make the finals against the Lakers like it did, or the Nets. But it's just like you have to not overspend from like dumb players in the free agency, and you have to just keep drafting because like the Thunder, even though they lost both KD and Harden, they're still kind of relevant,
Yeah.
They got Paul George. They traded for him. They traded for Carmelo as well.
Yeah.
But they still have Westbrook, and they drafted him. So if they, if Westbrook was gone, that team no one even would want to go there.
Right.
He definitely.
And it's just
And
because like now, not even like the location matters. Like say everyone wants to go to LA. Well, not really.
Yeah.
Because no one really wants to go to the Clippers, and the Lakers have been bad for like seeming like 5 years, and they're just now turning around a little bit, and they're still like a lottery team.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, it's crazy that we talk about like drafting players, and as much as everyone hates on the Warriors and stuff, they pretty much did the same thing. They drafted Clay, Draymond, and Steph, all like they're three of their best players. So, it takes like a long time to do, like we see from the 76ers, like we're seeing from the Lakers, like it takes a long time to rebuild. But, if you take your time to do that and you do it right, and you might get fortunate like with KD and you get one-star player, and that just, that's your team right there. So, it's trying, and whether your team and your management ownership wants to actually take the time to do that is one thing. But, as a fan of like a certain organization, I would say, obviously when you have the Warriors together right now and you still have LeBron out there, is your team really like, do you want to like really go for any other star player right now? I don't think so, because what are you shooting for, second?
Yeah. So. And I think it's crazy too. I mean, there's no denying that players like KD and LeBron are world class, right? That they're once in a generation type players, and even Westbrook to a degree. But it's just, this is why I can never really get into being a fan of a certain NBA team.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge fan of the Steve Nash Suns. Like, I love the Steve Nash Suns. You had him, that Rajah Bell, Grant Hill, freaking Sean Marion, Maurice Stoudemire. Those
Yeah.
Barbosa on the bench, like those guys, I love watching them play. That was kind of my first kind of getting into basketball, seeing those guys fly up and down the court together. You know, it was just so cool with Steve Nash, you know, holding the helm with the D'Antoni offense, and eventually Gentry, bless his soul. But the thing is, like, it's crazy because once those guys left that team, you know, when Steve Nash said, okay, I'm going to go to try to finally, I guess, seriously go win a championship in LA, and they thought that was going to work out with Kobe, that was kind of my first iteration of, I wouldn't say a super team, but trying to be super, you know, and he went there, and ultimately they failed because Steve Nash was getting old, he had back problems, you know, Kobe, he got injured all the time, he was carrying that, he was dragging that team, Dwight Howard, because he was the man in Orlando, right? Like, he was the man, he's Superman. But then what happened? He left or he got traded? I think he left, right? He left the Magic. So when he left, that was his own accord trying to go chase, you know, success. And they make these moves, and it's not about teams anymore. It's about these players and their goals,
legacy.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So and KD left. I was surprised when LeBron left. It was a big skeptic. It's all about the singular person, and I just can't. I love, like I said, like you started watching it this year and you find it more entertaining. I definitely think the NBA nowadays is more. It's not high flying, but there's just so much, you know, point guard dominant ball. There's really no more traditional 1 through 5. Everybody plays small ball. Yeah.
You know, everyone's been watching for years, but I'd say this year, like I said, it's more, you know, like you're saying, it's more, I guess, fun to watch in a way, just because there's, you know, even the Lakers, who are, you know, a sub 500 team, they're still playing. I mean, they're still like fun to watch. You know,
Kuzma is going off.
Brandon Ingram. You know, obviously Lonzo whenever he plays again.
Next,
you know,
after the All-Star game. Right.
Yeah. So, and then you know the 76ers, same thing. Fun team to watch. You know, the Thunder, who are they're average, I'd say. And, you know, people watch them. So there's more than just like the Celtics, or more than just the Cavs and the Warriors to watch this year, I'd say.
Yeah. So Chandler, what do you think? You know, what do you kind of think this Cavaliers Warrior? Well, I mean, first I would say this: do you believe that LeBron's going to stay in Cleveland?
No, he's definitely gone.
Yeah, I think it was funny because from what I was hearing, the Lakers are trying to open up. They open up hella cap space, so technically they can get
room for 2 stars.
2 stars. So do you think LeBron even would want to go to LA, or would you rather go to like Houston or the Spurs?
You know, I doubt he'd want to go to LA, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did want to go there. I mean, if he did go there.
Yeah.
But I feel like he ends up in Houston.
That'd be a good fit for him. I don't want to see him go to LA and ruin everything that they have going over there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that too.
they've worked hard to build the program, and it's kind of annoying that you hear Magic Johnson saying like, yeah, we want like a star, 2-star players. Like, he came out and said that, and it's like, that's really like, you have such a good thing going. Like, you just have to wait like, what, probably 2 or 3 years, and you'll be a playoff team, you know, competing. So I don't think you want to bring anybody in like a Paul George to like mess any of that flow up, because who's Paul George going to start over?
Yeah, it's like the thing like in the Celtics, like this past offseason, well, the past 2 off seasons is like, well, we have cap space, like we should go after like Paul George, we should go after Jimmy Butler, we should go after, you know, just like any of these big names like Boogie, you know, all the big names. Or when especially with the Celtics, like they got lucky with that trade with the Nets, where they were able to be like picking top 5 players every year while also getting better.
Yeah.
Like, especially when they hired Brad Stevens. So it's just like with the Lakers, that would be just completely like, it would either have to work immediately, or it just completely sets them back.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on 2 more points before we because I want to make this video shorter than 17 minutes for some reason. So the 2 points, Chandler, I want to ask you about. The first is going to be about, no one's probably going to talk about it, but IT. What kind of happens with Isaiah Thomas? He's been on a crazy odyssey. No one really wants him. People are saying this is not a league for him. He's 5'9". He can't play defense. What kind of happens with Isaiah Thomas with the Lakers? Like, are they gonna let him walk or what? Because he's asking for a huge contract.
Yeah, first of all, they're definitely gonna let him walk, but it's crazy, like, because like literally a year ago, he was on the Celtics in the midst of a playoff run, and like a really great stretch where he's averaging 30 points a game,
Yeah.
and like ever since he got traded to the Cavs the first time, it's been kind of like, well, ever since he got injured in that conference finals,
Yeah.
which he actually was injured, like, it turned out he was injured like 2 months, which obviously wasn't good, but that's when he's like got shut down, was the conference finals, and like ever since then it became a question. It was like, well, do you want to pay about to be a 30-year-old point guard that doesn't play any defense, and you have to like hide him on defense?
Yeah.
And do you want to pay him max money, which is like $30 million, and by the end of the contract he's going to be 34?
Right.
And it's like, he kind of, well, he came out of college, he was like already like a senior or whatever, so like he didn't have any time to like, gel. He was like scoring straight out of college, but
yeah,
it's just like now he's on the Lakers. He doesn't want to be a backup. He made that very clear. But he's going to have to be, because they just drafted Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
And LeVar Ball would not let that happen. I don't know. Like, I feel like he's going to get paid this offseason. It's probably not going to be by any like contending team or any young team. So, like, all the middling teams, like, I don't even really know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, now it's just like either you're tanking or you're trying to contend.
Yeah.
And there's no really mid-ground where he can go.
And try to...
Except for, like, I don't know, the Hawks.
The Hawks will take anybody.
Yeah, they will. And they should.
Yeah, and all these other teams, they have really good, like, they have really good point guards, like really good rookie point guards, like Dennis Smith Jr. with Dallas, And so the last point I want to make, and or last question I want to make, so how long do you think, we have these up-and-coming teams like, the 76ers, they've been tanking forever, and now they finally got a Ben Simmons, a Joel Embiid. They ruined Jahlil Okafor, etc. And then
he ruined them. Yeah. He almost ruined them.
And then you have, the Lakers. Kuzma's a diamond in the rough. You got Lonzo Ball. Hopefully, he turns out to be good. You got a Sacramento Kings team. They have De'Aaron Fox. He just brings it life and spark, all that jazz.
Justin Jackson.
Yeah, and those kids are doing great over there. And you got a scoring machine in Phoenix and Devin Booker. And I love Kristaps Porzingis. So there's definitely this jive of a new generation coming up after the KDs and the LeBrons and the Steph Currys, kind of start to dwindle out. So, but how long do you think until that kind of shifts into the next generation? Like, when are you projecting it to change from the Warriors to Cavs to something else?
I feel like you're going to start to see it next year, especially in the East.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's not going to fully get there to like maybe 2 or 3 years. But next year, I feel like if LeBron's not in the East, it's definitely going to shift. But
the East will be wide open for sure.
Yeah. And then you have like the Knicks with Kristaps and whoever they decide to draft this year. And because they always pick some random person.
Yeah.
And then the Bucks, like Jabari Parker came back.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just got rid of Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
So it depends on, like, honestly, like, if there's a coach out there, maybe Fizdale, who just got fired from the Grizzlies somehow for some reason. If he goes to, like, the Bucks, I feel like you have to look out for them. But, like, I feel like next year, like, well, you think you would see it this year, but everyone's getting hurt. But,
right.
Yeah, next year, I feel like you're going to see, like, those players started taking next step. Like you see Porzingis, well, he was already taking a step.
Yeah.
You see Giannis, who's already taking a step as well. But like once they start to gel and start to get, more direction from their front offices, even with the 76ers, once they start to get healthy and start playing together, it's gonna be really crazy in the East.
Yeah.
Everyone always says the East is terrible, but I feel like for the next decade, that's probably gonna be like where the best games come from, especially with the Celtics still being like crazy with all their young talent too.
Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely once LeBron's out of here, and probably within 5 years, I'd say LeBron's gonna be done, probably. That's when I think things will really start to open up. Once the Lakers start, get a little more mature, 76ers, if the Knicks get a good pick this year. But then you also have KD still out there, so KD might turn into, he's in the finals with wherever he goes, because, I mean, he's not that old.
And the thing I think about, too, especially with the Warriors and the way they kind of play, I mean, it's not like it's old school basketball where they're ducking in the paint and driving all the time. They're freaking running up to the arc, and they're just letting it go. You can do that forever.
Yeah.
You can literally do that forever. And Steph, I mean, he dribbles to find his shot, whereas Kyrie dribbles to penetrate and find his shot. These guys are just, it's so crazy with the finesse now. They play not to get injured.
Yeah.
They play not to get injured and to play long term, which, again, LeBron is great. He's a great physique. He has a great, I'm sure he eats well or whatever. And he's going to be playing for like a long time. But one last point I kind of want to make before I close out. I'm just randomly thinking about, like, I'm feeling bad about other teams like the Portland Trailblazers and the Timberwolves. These guys, CJ McCollum and Lillard and you got Jimmy Butler. And Cat, Cat's still young. I'm not saying he's old, but these teams that are kind of like mid-tier, and like, where are they going to fit in all this? It's like they're looking for that last piece. It's like you're playing a game of bingo, right? And you have four pieces, 3 pieces, and you just need two more calls to go your way.
And it's like with that kind of talent, Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard, all those guys, you don't want to tank, because I mean, those guys have tremendous skill. I mean, he dropped, 44 on the Warriors, was that last night? So, I mean, you don't want to, tank your season, but at the same time, you kind of have to get that missing piece from the draft, unless you just free up some cap space and trade for somebody. But
and I think who's, the closest to, really close, it's got to be the Raptors, man. Every year, third or second, and they go into a Cavs series, and they know they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
It's crazy, because I love the way Lowry. I mean, I love the way Lowry plays, but I love DeRozan. I love DeRozan's game, but he's also missing something in his game. His 3-point shot's getting there. He's getting a better 3-point shot this year, but he's always been that 2-point killer. He's like an upgraded Sean Livingston.
Yeah.
And it's like. Those teams, what can they do? And you only have so much of your prime to play. You only have so much of this franchise to focus on your franchise players. And, man, it's just a tough world out there in the NBA.
It's kind of unlucky for everyone that's playing in their prime right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the worst time to be in your prime.
In any other generation, some of these guys might be going down as, greats. But now they're all getting overlooked because you just have these Warriors and LeBron just, dominating everything. So
but let's go ahead and close it up. You close it up.
Well, that's gonna do it for us today. Chandler, thanks again for coming on, talking to NBA with us. We'll probably have you on again around the start of the playoffs or something like that.
Yeah, definitely start of the playoffs, second round, and we'll be talking throughout the playoffs. Right before the finals, we'll also be having something else too. But yeah. So that's it.
Chandler,
you got any parting words for the fans?
Yes. Slam dunk champion Dennis Smith, celebrity game MVP Quavo, rising star MVP Jalen Brown.
Yeah. I think Jalen
skills test, skills challenge. Go ahead and give it to Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh no.
of the Nets. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of M2HK special on the first half of the NBA season. And you guys enjoy All-Star Break weekend. Be on the lookout for our 2K vid because we'll be having that come up on a commentary. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'll put the card of the last one right there. But anyway, see you guys on the next time.